Ray Sharkey. Ray Sharkey, tragic tale. So he had been booted off of Wiseguy, and they had a new comedy series called Man in the Family. And talking about his recovery from addiction. He was fibbing in this interview a lot. Because within a year, he was busted. He'd been revealed to be HIV positive and spreading it around to over 100 women. Not being a good guy. He was dead within 2 years. Was a really good actor, really good at playing kind of like fast-talking bad guys. Smooth or aggressive. So in this interview, we got the nice version of who he excelled at playing on the screen. So Ray Sharkey, later with Katie Couric. And wait till you see the end. The very last thing he says to Katie in her condition, oh my God, good thing she didn't take him up.
Hi, thanks for staying up later. I'm Katie Couric, sitting in for Bob Costas, who is on vacation. Many of you know him as Vinnie Vacari, the smooth-talking, pushy Idolmaker in the movie of the same name, or as Sonny Steelgrave in the TV series Wiseguy. But his friends know him as Ray Sharkey, and he's our guest tonight on Later. Hi, Ray.
Hi, Katie.
The Idolmaker. What was it about Vinnie that appealed to you?
Well, first of all, let me say that's one of the worst things that could possibly happen to an actor is to watch yourself grow old, even though you really don't. So as a result of that, I don't watch my stuff because I don't know how to watch it. I'm too vain. I'm too busy looking at... and I guess that's part of who Vinnie is, Vinnie Vacari. The thing that turned me on was we were developing it as we were going along. I remember we were sitting around, Gene Kirkwood made this movie, Rocky. We started talking and discussing ideas, and he said, you know, I got this friend of mine, he discovered Fabian and Frankie Avalon, and blah, 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 and one thing led to another, and before you know it, a year later, he had developed a script. And so we had to find something about Vinnie that was more than just, as you said in the beginning of the show, smooth talking and slick and powerful. We had to make him a human being. So we thought, what better way to do it than, you know, when I went to a rock and roll show or when I go to the movies or something, inevitably I always said, I can do that, you know. And that yet if you said, okay, come on, you're on, I would freeze. You know, the normal guy can't do it. You know, you freeze up. And that was the hook that kept me in there.
Vinnie and you have a lot of similarities.
Yeah, we did. You know, a funny thing happened. As I told you before, I have a hard time watching myself. And there was a point in my life where things were not going well at all. You know, a little over 5 years ago, I was in my mother's house in Brooklyn. And I was in, you know, this room that she had for me. It was like a shrine, you know. And there was all these pictures, and there was my Golden Globe Awards and nomination plaques and all of that. And I was not in very good shape, to say the least. I was sick. I was withdrawing from narcotics and all of that. And this is the truth. It was a Sunday night, and that night, the Idolmaker came on television. And like I said, I couldn't watch myself. I had problems. But all of a sudden, I would glimpse at the television, and that guy was, I didn't know who that guy was. I knew it was me, but I didn't know who he was. But I kept hearing things that he was saying, you know, just do it. These were like positive affirmations. I mean, I'm not saying like that's what happened. It was like the spiritual awakening. But it was very strange how it came back to help me in my life. Because what I did remember after that experience an hour later was where I was at when I was making the film. That's what I'm reminded of, where I was at emotionally. And I remember all those wonderful attributes of strength and patience and strong character. And I have a lot to thank him for.
Just do what I do. Just watch me, okay? I'm telling you, hey, you were born with it.
I know you weren't exactly playing yourself, but you and Vinnie both grew up in pretty tough situations, didn't you? You had a pretty rough childhood.
Yeah, well, you know, everybody says that.
Your father walked out on
Dad
your
left
mom.
and all that. But it's like, especially now, it's summer, I look back at that, and see, the brain doesn't compute pain. It's programmed to remember pleasure and give it to you as you go along in your life. You will find out when you go into labor that
I hope.
yes, that it will, your mind will become your companion. And so, as it's my friend, it remembers, like, if this is June, school's out, summer, softball, baseball, Coney Island, the boardwalk, under the boardwalk.
You may have good memories, Ray, but
Right.
I know that all of your fellow gang members are now dead.
Exactly. That's
so
what I'm saying.
how
That's
how
my
happy
point.
could it have been?
Well,
really?
this is where I look, when I'm looking back at it, it's like wonderful, but the reality of it is that this is what happened on the street, and it still happens. In other words, just the people have changed, and I've gotten older, but there are still kids like me who are out there doing the same exact thing.
And some of them
fighting
will
in
die.
gangs, and most of them will die.
Why? What saved you?
I was given, in my education and in my family life, a strong sense of loyalty, discipline in my education. I went to Catholic school for 12 years. And I guess as I got lost in myself, because that's what you do, there was always this little voice in me that said, but this is the way to go, and this is right. And a lot of love I got from my mother and my grandparents and my family. I came from a big Italian family. So there was a lot of love and a lot of security in who I was. So the messages are really subliminal, but I mean, the message I got and the message kids are getting today is, drive this car and you'll be this person. This one's for you. Smoke these and you'll be a man, a Marlboro man, or whatever it is. But the message has to do with getting out of yourself, as if to say, where you're at right now is nowhere. Try this and you'll be somewhere. Drive this car, smoke this cigarette, drink this product. It's all centered around getting out of who you are. So kids today don't stand a chance. And then when they go to find out who they are, the mirror they have is, some guy with, Sergio Tacchini outfit on, white shoes and gold medals, who's got a pocket full of cash. And so the message is that, okay, well, that's the way to go. This guy's got a pocket full of cash, but nobody teaches you or gives you the information that that is like the short money. And the long money is, what do you do if you're lucky enough to survive the streets and all of that when you're 30 years old, which is a young age, right? What do you do? How do you live with yourself? You don't stand a chance. You don't stand a chance, because by then you have such disdain for yourself that you go out and commit crime. And I mean, without getting heavy, that was what I learned in the neighborhood, was how to not look at myself.
I want to hear more about how acting was your ticket out.
It really was.
One day as a teenager, you saw the musical Hair.
Mm-hmm.
It changed your life, didn't it?
It did. Actually, when I went to the theater to see it, I was sitting there and I was mesmerized. All these beautiful people, they were healthy and they were
naked?
Some of them. But it was, they were swinging from the rafters. They were having a ball. And I thought, again, like the Idolmaker, I can do that. I could do that. And they're getting paid for it. And what attracted me more than anything was this sense of family. They were like a company. And so a week later, I went and enrolled in an acting school down in Greenwich Village and stayed there for 4 years.
Why did they think you had potential when they saw you? Or did they? Did they say, hey, buddy, hit the road?
No, they gave me a scholarship.
Well, I'd say that's
and
potential.
I stayed there, yeah, for 4 years. What it did for me, which was great, how it got me out of the neighborhood. You asked me a question before, how I did that. It opened up a whole new world for me, and it was the world of literature. And it gave me a chance to escape in my mind by reading other people's material. And that was what I was taught at the studio, which was, this is how you get out. This is how it works. And I got that real young. And I think it was a saving grace for me.
People have seen you, of course, more recently on television in Wiseguy,
Right.
as Sonny Steelgrave. I know he's, I guess, your
My
favorite
pal.
character next to Vinnie, huh?
Yeah, he is. Well, I can look back fondly at Sonny because he's dead, and I don't have to play him anymore. What happened was when I got the part as Sonny, it came at a time in my life where I was hungry to do some honest work. And prior to that, I'd just been taking acting jobs to sort of pay for my habit, you know, and Sonny came at a point in my life where I was open, receptive, ready, vulnerable. And yet I still had to be tough, you know, I still had to have that veneer. So I tried to work the opposites, and I started to like him. And I started to have a good time with him. What a lot of people, I guess, don't think about when we think about Sonny is there would be no Sonny without Vinnie, you know, without Ken Wall's character. So we really became one guy because of the obstacles that we were put at.
You're the mob in this room, Vinnie. I loved you, man.
So I look back at Sonny and I remember all those good times with Ken Wall.
Pretty depressing, though. He was so short-lived, shall we say. You guys tried to change that. Tried to
We
get
did.
Steve
We
Cannell
did.
to write him in for more
Yeah.
episodes, but he said no
Steve-
dice.
No, Steve was pretty gracious about it too. Kenny and I took a trip down to L.A. one weekend, and we went into his office, and we were like little kids going to, you know, Mr. Warner, you know, we got something we'd like to talk to you about. And, you know, we're going in his office with our hat in our hands and trying to, you know, we had storylines worked out. And, well, what if this happened and what if that happened? And he had already built sets for the other arc. And, you know, it was Kenny's show. You know, it wasn't my show. And the question was, well, wait a minute. This isn't supposed to happen. The people at the network were saying, since when does the bad guy become the good guy and everybody's hero? We don't know what to do about this. And so Sonny died.
But right now, things are going your way. You have a new TV series coming out
The Man
on
in
ABC.
the Family. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's a half-hour comedy, you know, and it really came at a point in my life where I needed to be funny.
It's a real change for you, though, isn't it? A comedy weekly series.
It is the greatest thrill. It's like doing a play every week, and you have a different audience, and they come in and they let you know. That's the difference between comedy and drama, is that you know immediately. You get some satisfaction from hearing the laughs.
So, Bob, what can I do for you? I see. Yes, that is a very attractive offer. 5,000 a week. My own car, a suite at the hotel, and the expense account. Oh, Bob, you're too kind. Then you'll want me in Atlantic City tomorrow.
Sal, the phone's not working.
What?
That's why nobody could get through to us for the last 2 days. Here's the notice from the phone company.
I tried to tell you.
Bob, I'll call you back, okay?
A couple of years ago, Ray, you played a character in the movie Wired, all about John Belushi, and oddly enough, you're his guardian angel. Kind of a strange role reversal there, isn't it?
Yes, poetic justice. We're here taping this show. This is where John did some of his best work on the Saturday Night Live stage. And here I am telling you about being his guardian angel. That's really weird. At the time, I remember the part was written for a Spanish actor, someone who was Spanish. And I remember reading the script and thinking, I gotta play this part. And I went in and auditioned like a regular working class actor and did the whole accent and everything. And halfway through it, the director stopped me and said, you got the part. I said, okay, all right, you know. And then that's when it hit me that this is what I would be doing. I would be essentially, you know, it was funny, I look at Michael Chiklis in the movie and I'm acting with him, but as I'm acting with him, I'm really acting with myself. As I'm talking to him and I'm telling him stories about, you know, traveling around Hollywood and, you know, looking for drugs and doing this and living the fast lane, I'm really talking to myself. So I really, looking back at it, I really probably played my guardian angel.
Your guardian angel, Ray, I guess, wasn't having a whole lot of success between 1981 and 87 when you turned to drugs.
Right.
Heroin.
Hard drugs, heroin, cocaine, which was readily available, you know, which that was very scary.
It's hard for me to understand, you know, you did The Idolmaker, so the movie didn't do that well commercially, but you won a Golden Globe. You were a hot commodity, and yet you sort of threw it all away.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, yeah, I did make a conscious decision to throw it all away. I remember the morning I woke up and said, well, you've done it all. Now what do you want to do? Hey, I know what. Why don't you, why don't you do that? Why don't you escape? I think it has a lot to do with what we were discussing earlier on, which is lack of information, how to enjoy you as a successful person, how to deal with the feelings of, well, why is it that I'm here enjoying this success and all the other guys I knew and loved are dead, gone, whatever, shot, killed, OD'd, da-da-da.
A lot of guilt.
A lot of guilt. A lot of guilt about that. And again, it's something that I never dealt with and didn't have the wherewithal to deal with it. Also, the information I had then was when you become successful, you party. Live fast, die young, have a good-looking corpse. That was the analogy, right? And so naturally, I thought, well, okay, I got the bucks now, I'm successful, got to move fast. I think that had a lot to do with it. It's that's why I feel responsible. It's a double-edged sword, Katie. I think sometimes personalities, when they go on television or they go, on a public podium, so to speak, and say, I went to Betty Ford and, I did that and I'm okay now. There's a double-edged sword to that message because the kid who's sitting there watching television says, well, hey, I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing because he got back from the other side. He made it. And look, he did it. I could do that. And that's not really where it's at. What I do is hands-on work. I'm in the trenches every week with people. And
talking to drug addicts, recovering?
Wiping puke. Forget talking. I mean, hands-on work, one-on-one. And that's where I get my gratitude from. That's where I excel in terms of lectures and messages and things of that nature. The solution is not in listening to my story and, ooh, gee, look what I went through and came out through the other side unscathed.
Yeah, if anything, it could have the opposite effect, as you said.
It does have the opposite effect most of the time.
So what do you tell these people?
What you do about it is you start at 4 or 5 years old in terms of education. There's got to be a lot more patience at home, a lot more. You take your kid to school, take them to school. Take them to Sunday school, take them. Show some interest.
If the kid has a parent at all.
Well, if a kid doesn't have a parent, then the responsibility, which is where the government comes in terms of financing, has to take over that responsibility because it's tomorrow's future. I mean, I hate to sound trite, but that's really where it's at.
Are you afraid you might fall again?
Well, it's interesting because what I have been told by the people that helped me is that I've put myself on such a high pedestal because I'm so competitive and I'm so disciplined that I had to put myself on such a high pedestal because I needed to know that if I did fall, it would be a long way down, And so that's the A part of it. The B part about it is how I stay healthy day to day is by giving it away, by giving the knowledge, the wisdom that I've gathered, just purely, simply giving it away for fun and for free and for love. And doing that on a daily basis keeps me, because, again, the brain doesn't compute pain. So it's easy for me to forget where I came from because, I lived the life, on the outside. So I have to stay in there, in the trenches and work so that I'm constantly reminded of where I came from, what happened, and what could happen at any moment if I'm not careful.
Much success with your new series, A Man in the Family. You've been through a lot, and you certainly deserve a success.
You are one of the most beautiful pregnant women I've ever seen in my life.
Thank you. I'm glad we had that on tape. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Bob will be back next week. Good night.
Thanks for watching Cleveland Live Music. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe icon. Or watch the next video that YouTube tells you you'll like that I've uploaded. I think we can accommodate you. All of you. Come on. Come.